In the summer of 1883, deep in the stone deserts of northern Arizona, the Hopi people faced a brutal conflict unlike anything they had known before. Outsiders, settlers, scouts, and opportunists pushed deeper into their ancestral mesas, desecrating shrines and harassing villages. Among the warriors who rose to defend the land was a young man named Talaquai, known for his precise aim and unmatched hearing. He was not the strongest, nor the oldest, but many believed his spirit was touched by Masa, the keeper of the fourth world. The battle that changed everything came at dusk. When the sky glowed copper and the ground trembled under horses, Talaquai fought with ferocity, his movements guided by instinct as arrows cut the air around him. But in one brutal moment, a rifle blast shattered the sandstone near his face. A spray of rock shards tore across his eyes, ripping away the world of light forever. He fell to the ground, drowning in darkness. But instead of silence, he heard whispers, dozens of voices, layered like wind through dead branches. Some spoke in Hopi, others spoke in languages he did not know. Deep, rumbling tones, cold hisses, and something mechanical yet alive. "Do not look away," one voice echoed. "The blindness is the beginning." As the warriors carried him back to the mesa, Talaquai slipped in and out of consciousness. Trembling, he expected the world to fade into blackness forever. Instead, behind the darkness, he began to see shapes. Pale, twisting shadows moving like smoke. They followed him, sliding along the walls, smelling the air, watching him without eyes. In the night, while healers tended his wounds, the visions intensified. He saw the ground cracking open like the mouth of a starving beast, a pillar of blue fire rising from the horizon. People screaming, stars falling like burning feathers, and among the chaos, one image burned brighter than everything else. A date carved into the void like a brand of fire. The 29th of October 2025. He did not know what year it was now. He did not know why he was seeing something so far ahead. He only knew one thing for certain. These visions were not dreams. They were not hallucinations. They were warnings. 3 days after losing his sight, Talaquai woke violently, gasping for air. The world was black, yet he was seeing more than ever. Black silhouettes crawled along the ceilings. The ground pulsed like a living heart, and the sky, though he could not see it, echoed with a deep metallic hum. The healer said his blindness was permanent, but the ancios knew better. They whispered among themselves, saying the spirits had chosen him for something dangerous, something forbidden. When night fell again, Talaquai slipped into a trance without warning. His body stiffened, his jaw clenched, and his blind eyes rolled upward, showing only white. A strange vibration filled the room, rattling bowls, feathers, and ritual stones. Even the fire dimmed, shrinking back as if afraid. Tennis spoke, not with his own voice, but with one layered over his older, deeper, and cold as the shadow between stars. The fourth world cracks. The sky snake prepares its strike, and the ones below the sand rise with the memory of fire. The healers froze. Some tried to wake him, but they recoiled when a wave of heat radiated from his chest. Suddenly, Talaquai gasped as a blinding surge of prophetic imagery filled his mind. Imagery he later described to the elders, a giant star splitting open, releasing silent tendrils of blue light, a great shadow crossing over the moon, turning it pale gray, massive stone towers crumbling into dust as a surge of wind ripped across them, a line, 3 vertical marks, glowing with unnatural brightness, hovering above a circle of obsidian. 3 marks. 1 circle. Words he had never heard before. But he felt them, like ancient entities pressing against his skull. Before collapsing again, he whispered, "They come on the 29th day of the 10th moon. In the year of the metal serpent, 2025. The room fell into paralyzing silence. He had spoken a time they could not comprehend, far beyond their generation, far beyond their world, a prophecy not meant for them, but for the people of a distant future. When news spread that Talakwai had spoken a prophecy tied to a future century, the village erupted in fear and fascination. The Hopi believed in cycles, worlds born and destroyed, star messengers, and warnings from the past. But this was different. A prophecy tied to a specific date was almost unheard of. The elders convened inside the kiva, lighting cedar branches and chanting for protection as Talakwai was carried in. The young warrior sat silently, head bowed, hands trembling. Though he could not see the faces around him, he felt the weight of their fear pressing on his skin like heavy stone. "Tell us," one elder asked softly, "what did the spirit show you?" Talakwai hesitated. His breath quivered. Then he described the visions. A towering being made of smoke and bone, bending the sky downward like cloth. A serpent of lightning coiling around the earth. A sound like a drum of metal pounding from beneath the ground. And those marks again. 3-eye, burning in the air like a scar. One elder gasped. Another whispered prayers. They explained to Talakwai something he had never heard. An ancient Hopi legend about the Koidiani Skotsi, the life out of balance. When the world becomes poisoned and the sky fills with unnatural lights, an event known as the Atlas Burden may occur. The moment when the heavens shift their weight, crushing the unprepared. This legend had no date, no timeline, only warnings. Yet somehow, he had seen its fulfillment. And then, the elders grew frightened. For Talakwai repeated the date again. October 29, 2025, voice spoke behind the man, old healer who rarely attended council. He stepped forward, cane shaking, and declared, "This is not a prophecy for us. This is a prophecy for the people who will live when the sky burns." A message delivered through him, because they have no one left who listens. The air grew cold. Even the fire dimmed to a pale glow. Talakwai bowed his head and whispered, "I do not want these visions." The elder answered gently, "You were not asked. You were chosen." Talakwai Z. Visions grew worse. At first they came only during trance, but soon they invaded his sleep. Then his waking moments. His blindness became a gateway. His eyes turned inward, seeing far beyond his people's land. One night, as a storm gathered over the mesas, Talakwai felt the presence return. The air thickened. Coyotes fled into the desert. Even the thunder grew silent, as if the sky itself were listening. His body froze. His head tilted upward, and he spoke again, his voice layered with dozens of others. The Atlas awakens. The weight shifts. The sky cracks. Lightning struck the mesa outside, illuminating the world in electric white, and for the first time, the elders witnessed something impossible. Talakwai's blind eyes glowed blue. He described through choking breaths a vision far more terrifying than the previous ones. A blue shadow stretching across the planet, darkening oceans and deserts. A ring of fire spiraling downward from the sky. Massive constructs made of metal and glass, collapsing like sand. People running, reaching upward, screaming at something they did not understand. And over everything, that date pulsed like a heartbeat. 29 October 2025. The elders tried to calm him, chanting ancient protective hymns. Yet the visions intensified. Talakwai felt the world splitting open, revealing an underground chamber filled with humming machines he could not comprehend. They pulsed with light, as if breathing. Something inside them awakened. Something old. Something watching. "The 3 eyes are open," he whispered. The Atlas descends. A final blast of thunder shook the mesa. When the storm passed, Talakwai collapsed into the arms of the elders, barely conscious. They laid him down gently, whispering prayers. But one chilling truth hung over them. The spirits were not warning him. They were warning the future. Weeks passed. Talakwai grew weaker. His body could no longer contain the visions. It trembled constantly, as he freezing though the desert was hot. The elders tried to shield him by placing ash circles, blessed feathers, and protective stones around his sleeping mat. None of it helped. He was no longer dreaming of the visions. He was living inside them. One evening, when the sky was red like a wound, Talaquai entered his final trance, not with a gasp or a cry, this time but with a long, deep breath, as if something pulled his spirit out and upward. His blind eyes rolled white, his spine arched painfully. Then he spoke a message meant for the people of 2025. When the fifth cycle begins, the sky will reveal its memory. The serpent of light will coil around the earth. 3 eyes will open together. Atlas will kneel, and humanity will face the echo of the blue star. His voice turned hollow, as if dozens of spirits spoke through him. Do not look to the heavens on the 29th day. The light you see will not be the sun. Outside, the wind stopped. Even insects went silent. Then Talaquai whispered something that made the elders recoil in terror. I have seen them, the ones who watch from above your age. They are not gods. They are not men. But they return for what was once theirs. A moment later, his body loosened, his breathing softened. He whispered one final line. Tell the people of the far future, the Atlas warning has begun and we tat. The trance ended. After the final vision, Talaquai's strength faded. The elders knew he would not survive long, so they recorded his prophecy not in written form, but through sacred oral tradition, passed quietly from keeper to keeper. They called it the day when the blind man saw the fifth world. To protect the people from panic, they hid the prophecy. They told no outsiders. Only a single line was ever allowed to be spoken publicly. The blind warrior saw the day when the sky would burn. Talaquai died peacefully at dawn, his face calm, as though the spirits had finally released him. The elders carried him to the mesa top, burying him under a ring of white stones shaped like the 3 marks he had seen in his visions. Generations passed. The prophecy became legend, then myth, then almost forgotten, until the modern age. In the early 2000s, fragments of Hopi oral stories resurfaced among researchers. References to Atlas, 3 eyes, and the blue shadow that falls on the 10th moon. Most dismissed them as mystery, but one detail stood out. A precise date engraved in a 19th century legend, the 29th of October, 2025. No one could explain how a blind warrior from 1883 spoke a date more than a century ahead. No one could explain why the symbols 3i appeared in unrelated accounts across the region. And no one could explain the unnerving rise in unusual sky phenomena reported as the year 2025 approached. One Hopi elder, before passing in 2011, left a final message to researchers. The blind warrior did not predict the future. He remembered it. And now, the world moves toward the date burned into his visions, the 29th of October 2025, the day Talaquai saw without eyes.